I ended up effectively in business development, but I was on every side of the fence. So I've worked for agencies, I've worked for rights holders, I've worked for broadcasters, and in that role, you have to get out and about and you have to meet people all the time. And funnily enough, my training as an accountant taught me more about selling than anything else, because in those days I used to go off to strange places like Walthamstow to do audits, and actually getting information out of people who thought you were there to actually prove that they didn't know how to do their job or they should be made redundant was actually a great training. So in a funny way, apart from teaching me to be numerate, and I had no long-term ambitions to be an accountant, and I think it's a bit like being a lawyer, is that it's a great grounding to have if you want to work in the sports business, because having a knowledge of sport doesn't really mean anything. We all know lots about sport. What you've actually got to do is have a skill set, and if that skill set should be the law or accountancy or languages, whatever it is, you need to know something. And sport is becoming increasingly specialist now. You need to know a particular trade or skill. So I think there's less generalists now working in sport. There's always been a crossover between certain sports. I think, for example, tennis and golf. I was at IMG for 6 years and those sort of sports, and then there were certain sports that lived in their own world, of which I would say, for example, horse racing and boxing, where they are their own worlds, really. And if you work you have to be on the inside in that sport. You don't see a huge amount of crossover. But I think increasingly you have to be specialist in the sports business, yeah.